Hello everyone, this is Father Mark Kelleher, Holy Family Church in Newark, Delaware, and this video is about the reopening of our church. You may have heard that we have received permission from Bishop Malooly to open our churches into phase 1 of reopening. We may begin to offer daily Mass beginning on Monday, June 1st, and we may begin to offer Sunday Mass beginning on Trinity Sunday, the weekend of June 6th and 7th. And reconciliation can resume on that first Saturday of June, June 6th, at our regular time at 3:30 p.m. At this point in phase 1, funeral masses and wedding masses are still not permitted. This is to allow all the parishes to have a slow and a gradual startup. Even though we are reopening, we will be operating in such a way that is far from normal. So, when you come, if you come, on June 6th or 7th, do not expect, or even if you come for daily Mass, do not expect our normal routine as it was prior to the pandemic. The dispensation from the obligation to attend Sunday Mass that was issued by Bishop Malooly on March 12th is still in effect. This means if you are elderly, age 65 or older, or your health is somehow compromised, you should plan not to attend Mass while we are in the phase 1 of reopening. We will continue to record the Sunday Mass and post it on the Holy Family Catholic Church, Newark, Delaware YouTube channel, and you may view the Mass there. Those who are symptomatic or who have been exposed to the virus within the last 14 days are not permitted in the church. While we will not be taking temperatures, we do ask that you check your own temperature and those of your family before leaving home. If you do not feel well in any way, then you should stay home. Remember that you are the primary protector of your own health or the health of your family. When entering a public place, be it a grocery store or a church, there is always the risk that you may become infected. We will do all we can to disinfect all surfaces and spaces as best we can between Masses. However, individuals and heads of households assume the risk themselves and of their families if they choose to attend during this phase 1 period. When you come to the church on Sunday or on a weekday for daily Mass, everyone will enter through the main doors of the church building, and everyone will exit at the end of Mass through the portico side doors of the church. Upon entering the building, there will be hand sanitizer that everyone must use, and it is always a good idea to bring your own sanitizer. You will proceed through the gathering space directly to the church. Do not stop in the gathering space to congregate with relatives and friends. When meeting relatives and friends, do not shake hands, do not give hugs, do not kiss one another, and always practice the 6-foot safe distancing. The church aisles and pews will be marked with tape designating safe distancing. Members of the same household may sit together. Do not sit in pews or chairs that are marked off. The restrooms, of course, will be available for your use. However, we do not have the means to cleanse and disinfect between every person that uses the restroom. Use them at your own risk. Be sure to use the restroom before you come to Holy Family. Hymnals will not be available. If you usually follow the readings in the hymnal, you must bring your own copy of the readings. You can get readings at any number of websites online. Simply Google or enter into your search line Sunday Mass readings, and you will have many choices where you can download and print out the readings that you can bring with you. There will be no bulletin available during this Phase 1 period. A collection basket will be at the entrance to the church and at the portico side door. Please place your donation in the basket before Mass begins when you enter the church, or in the basket as you leave church by the portico door. There will be no collection taken during Mass, and there will be no presentation of the gifts. Attendance is limited to 30% of the capacity of the church, and there should be a 6-foot distance between people at all times. For Holy Family, that means 30% of the capacity is 150 people, though it may be less once the 6-foot distancing is observed. Members who live in the same household, again, may sit together. Gatherings before and after Mass are prohibited, and the priest will not greet people either before or after the Mass. Everyone must wear a mask. These are the CDC guidelines for masks. It says individuals age 13 and up are required to wear a cloth face covering to enter and remain inside. Cloth face covering is recommended but not required for children ages 2 to 12. During this phase, and you must keep your mask on the entire time that you are at Mass, except for receiving communion, which I will talk about in just a moment. During this Phase 1 period, we will not be using the services of any sacristans, lectors, or altar servers. And the extraordinary ministers of Holy Communion have been sent via email a separate letter about how we will be doing that ministry. There will be no exchange of the sign of peace. Communion will be distributed after the final blessing of Mass, both for Sunday Mass and daily Mass. So Mass will conclude, and then we will have distribution of communion. This minimizes movement during Mass and will encourage a more orderly and measured exit from the building. The cup will not be offered. After the extraordinary ministers of Holy Communion have received, and the priest and the extraordinary ministers of Holy Communion are at their stations, the people may come forward, pew by pew, beginning with the front pews, and working toward the back, keeping the 6-foot distancing requirement. There will be marks on the floors of the aisles, showing those 6-foot distances. When you are at the front, you, the communicant, will lower your mask, receive the consecrated host, step aside to the mark on the floor, consume the host, replace your mask, and leave immediately by the portico side door. Let me repeat that. When you are standing in front of the person who is distributing communion, you will lower your mask, receive the consecrated host, step aside to the mark on the floor, which will be 6 feet away from the person distributing the host, consume the host, replace your mask, and then leave immediately by the portico side door. If you are wearing gloves, you will be asked to remove the gloves before receiving the communion. We cannot put the consecrated host in hands that are gloved, and we cannot give the communion with gloved hands. And the people giving communion will all have masks on. For those of you, I am strongly urging and begging and pleading with all of you to please receive communion in your hand. I know that many of you receive communion on the tongue. This is not the time for your own personal piety, but rather it is the time for consideration for the health and well-being of those distributing communion and those following you in the line. If you insist on receiving communion on the tongue, then I ask that you wait and come at the end of the line. This is because the ministers are required to sanitize their hands between every person who chooses to receive on the tongue. So what that means is, if you choose to receive communion on the tongue, then when you are before the person who is distributing communion, we would put communion on your tongue. We'd have to set down our bowl, sanitize our hands, pick up the bowl, do the next person who receives on the tongue, put down the bowl, sanitize our hands, and pick up the bowl. So, because of that, I am asking you to please consider receiving communion in your hand, and if you must receive communion on the tongue, then I'm asking that you come up at the end of the line. If you are not receiving communion, do not get in the communion line. Now I want to go over with you how to receive communion, because a lot of people, whether they receive it in the tongue or on the hand, I wish there are countless ways that people do it. During this pandemic, sometimes people do it like this. I don't know what that is, a little cup. Sometimes the hands are like this, where I wonder if it's going to fall through your hands. Sometimes it's very close to people hold it close to their body. Some people hold it way down low. It should be at your heart level. Your hand should be open wide, palm up. Open wide, palm up. Not like this, not like this, not like this, not like this, like this. Palm up, open wide, at the level of your heart, away from your body. Look how my arms are almost fully extended. Away from your body, not up close. Away, palm up, flat, open, wide, so that we can put the host right in there without touching your hand. If the minister touches your hand in any way, we have to put the bowl down, sanitize our hands, pick the bowl up, and go to the next person. If you are receiving communion on the tongue, please put your head back, open your mouth, and stick your tongue out. Not like this. Not like this. Not like this. Head back. Mouth open. Tongue out. Because again, well, whether we touch your tongue or not, we have to sanitize our hands between every person who receives on the tongue. We don't have to do that between every person that receives in the hand unless we touch a person's hand. So, as you can see, this is far from normal. So there's a lot to think about, a lot to pray about. If you are, again, elderly, if you are have any underlying conditions in any way, phase 1 is not the time to return to Mass. Wait until later. Really decide whether it's worth it for you to take the chance. So again, we will do everything we can to sanitize and to wipe down surfaces, but you come at your own risk. And we look forward to seeing everyone. We missed everyone. The building's been so empty and silent. So we will do the best we can. And I'll go over all of these guidelines before each Mass, also that first weekend and probably other weekends as well. So God bless you all, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.